Good morning. I'm Sean Harris from the Board of Selectmen. It is Thursday morning, June 4th. I'm here with our Town Administrator, Jim Boudreau, for our bi-weekly update and where the town is now and where the town is going till we see this virus through. I'm going to start by turning it over to Jim, and then I'll have some comments and things afterwards.
So a lot of different things for today, Sean. The first one is our bi-weekly update on the COVID cases. Since Monday, we've had 4 additional cases reported. 3 of those are antibody and 1 is an additional positive. These are all at addresses where we've had previous cases, so they're not unexpected. That brings us to 122 cases in Scituate by the town's count, and those again are Scituate cases. We are not counting the nursing home cases in that. We account for those separately. And as I said last week, if you take the number of nursing home cases, you add them to what we're tracking for Scituate cases, you get very close to the number that the state reports on Thursday for total cases in Scituate. So we've been tracking that from the beginning. It is still going up, but very slowly, so those numbers are looking pretty good. But we do want residents to be aware that because this virus is so new, there is a lot we don't really know about it at this point. We're not sure whether or not if you can catch the virus twice, whether or not the antibodies you have give you immunity. So as I talk about the next step in the reopening phase, we ask that, again, you continue to practice your social distancing, to practice, keep hand washing, wearing a mask, and staying safe. Because a lot of the stuff about this virus, I ever talked from people, and we discussed a little bit this morning, Sean, it's just like the flu. It goes away in the summertime. We just don't know. We just don't know. So people need to stay vigilant and stay safe. So the big news, again, continues to be Phase 2 of the state's reopening. It's currently slated to begin next Monday, June 8th. The governor will make a decision on that Saturday, June 6th, whether Phase 2 will go forward. And that will be based upon the metrics that we are seeing statewide for the virus. Right now, it does look good. I would say if he had to do it today, he would open Phase 2. But we'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
Can I just jump in? If that is the case, and it looks good, they go to Phase 2, what does that mean for businesses, especially restaurants? Can you, unless you were going to...
That's where we're going.
All right.
That's where we're going. I mean, probably the biggest part of that is restaurants will be able to open in Phase 2. At the start of Phase 2, it will be outdoor dining only. It is possible later in Phase 2 that they will allow limited inside dining, but for the beginning of Phase 2, it is outside dining only. The governor signed an executive order last week that will allow the Board of Selectmen to approve temporary outdoor dining for establishments that serve alcohol. It'll be a simple vote of the Board of Selectmen. This eliminates a very cumbersome process to do permanent seating. So this is only temporary. It'll only be for this year until the fall. We have communicated the requirements for this to the businesses. The big one is that whatever the outside seating must be, it must be clearly delineated and separated from any other spots because there will be alcohol there.
On their property, on their real estate?
Well, it can be either, okay?
Okay.
They can do it on their own property, or they can request to use a sidewalk. They can request to use a street. I know we've talked about potentially closing Front Street, maybe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights so businesses can have some outside seating. For the most part, most of the businesses that are open down there already have outside seating. I think the galley is getting ready to reopen, so they might come in and ask for permission to use the street. And I think the board is willing to consider that. There is a agreement they'll have to sign with us, basically indemnifying us if somebody gets hurt using the street. But if that's what they want and the town agrees with it, then we can allow that. I just don't think we're going to close Front Street all day. I don't think we're going to close Front Street for a long period. I think it'll be, like I said, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, they'll be able to go out and put something out front. Again, they have to clearly mark where it is and have a boundary between them and the other space. So we'll see what we get. We sent communication to all our license holders. We told them to get their request back to us today, tomorrow. It really just has to be a simple plan showing where it's going to be, describing how they're going to separate it, and then how they're going to follow the guidelines. And that could just be a board. It is on the agenda for Tuesday night, approval of outside seating, and we'll just go through them as we get them and approve them down the line if the board requires. So we'll see. I think the restaurants are pretty excited, but again, Mill Wharf has outside seating, TK's has outside seating, Riva has outside seating in the harbor. So the big one would be the galley, and I don't think the Hibernian is at that point yet where they're ready to open, nor do I think the old Aura space is ready to open at this point. But if they come in, we'll take them up. Scituate has room, Barker has room, Riva has room, Rivershed has room. Aura would have room in their parking lot to do outside seating, so we'll see what we get back. Obviously, they can afford to lose some parking because they're not going to be anywhere near the capacity of their restaurants. So they can put it in the parking lots, they can put it almost anywhere they want. We just got to look at it and make sure it's going to be safe.
Can I just jump in there? And that's what I had heard, and we've spoken about, and I'm glad you mentioned it because hopefully word gets out to the public. Jim, everyone I've spoken to thinks this is a great idea. So I'd just encourage anyone listening to this, please contact one of us selectmen, give us your thoughts, because I haven't heard anybody talk negative about that. I mean, there are definitely some logistics to work through, the parking and the marina, the Cole Parkway. Those folks have had, they have a short window for their boating season. I get it. So if it can be worked out, I just think it's a great idea.
I mean, we get by in the regular summertime. This is not going to be anywhere near the capacity of the restaurant, so I don't think that should be a big problem. We are talking with the chamber. If we close the street, what about the other businesses? Again, I think our position has been, well, tell us what you need, as opposed to me, who doesn't own a small business, trying to tell you what I'm going to do for you. So we're waiting to hear from them, and I think the board has signaled that they would be willing to do what they can to be of assistance, the whole Scituate Loves Local campaign. So we'll do what we can to help them, but I got to wait and see if we get in for next week.
That's right. All right, great.
My daughter has been yelling at me that Monday is my anniversary. I should get a reservation somewhere. We'll see. We'll see. Honey, we'll see. I'm not sure it's going to be open where I can get a reservation. Also under phase 2 at this point, retail stores will be able to reopen. Hotels, motels, and inns. Limited organized youth and adult amateur sports activities will be allowed to begin outside. No contact, no games, no scrimmages. Indoor sports facilities will be able to open for youth activities only. Again, there are very strict guidelines for all these. We're going to post the ones for the youth sports on our website. Otherwise, you can go to mass.gov/reopening and get these. Day camps and recreation programs could open under phase 2. We have a call with the recreation department immediately following this. The guidelines are 30-something pages long. I am concerned about whether or not we can meet all the requirements that they're putting out for recreational camps. We're going to go into it with the thought that we're going to open and then figure out how we can do it. But it's going to be difficult, I think, to do everything that we normally do, but we're going to try to do as much as we can do based on these guidelines. And again, they're very strict. We'll post a copy of those on the websites.
Great.
Nail salons can open back up. For those of you who are so inclined, I believe tattoo parlors can open back up. Funeral homes will be able to increase to 40% capacity for a service. So, good news, bad news. Bad news is you're at a funeral, but at least now they'll be able to provide some sort of ability for loved ones to pay their respects. Before, it's been limited to gatherings of 10. So, nursing homes will be opening for visitors under very, very strict guidelines. I believe they start as being just outdoors. But it is good that people who have parents or loved ones in nursing homes will be able to make some sort of arrangements to go see those people after several months of not being able to do so. And the golf driving range at Widows Walk should be reopening. I'm just waiting for Ian Kelly to give me an announcement. We're going to post the governor's order laying out what is opening in phase 2 on the website so people can look at that. Tomorrow and again on Saturday, today, it's Thursday, today and again on Saturday from 10 to 3, the lobby of the library will be open for pickup of items that patrons have put on hold since March. We're going to clear out that backlog. All those patrons have been notified. Starting next week, residents will be able to place holds to the library's catalog or by calling in for items that are at the Scituate Library. We're not going to have that delivery back and forth of other libraries, so you'll be able to put on hold items at the Scituate Library and then make arrangements. Pickup days will be Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays for those. Returns will also be accepted on those days, and returns can be brought in on any days even when the library is not doing pickup or drop-off. We are working on guidance on reopening the libraries. The Mass Library Commission has a set of guidelines. The state has really not, the governor's office has really not told us whether we should use those guidelines or not. There's a question whether the library is classified as office space under the opening guidelines or retail space under the opening guidelines, so we're trying to get some clarification on that. As soon as we do, then we will make arrangements to start looking to get the library open to patrons, at least on a limited basis. Capacity will be limited, obviously, and things like that, but we are doing the physical changes now to the building. We just need some more guidance as to how we're going to reopen. But good news is, you will be able to start getting books and dropping books off in the Scituate Public Library starting next week.
Great.
That leads us into this building, Town Hall, regular employees. We are categorized as office space under the governor's guidelines. There is no separate category for Town Hall. Right now, we have a department head call scheduled for Monday, but it's our intention that we will start bringing employees back into the building next week to get back to full capacity in those offices where we can meet the guidelines, which we think we can in all our offices. Once we are back to full capacity, it will be my intention to open the building up by appointment. And the reason for that is, as an office space, under the current guidelines, we are required to limit our visitors, and we are required to keep a log of anyone who comes into the building with their contact information so we can do contact tracing. So if we just open the building, we're not going to have that ability. So that would be the plan right now. If the governor's guidance changes, obviously we would change to meet that, but we'll stop bringing people back in the building. As we've said, the building has been staffed the entire COVID-19 period. The building has never been empty, but we have been on a reduced staff. We will stop bringing people back to go to a full staff. Then we'll go by appointment, and then at some point, based upon the guidelines, the building will be open to the public.
Jim, not to put you on the spot, you just made me think of, one of the comments I think another board member said. So at that point, will the governor and then the town managers and administrators look at bringing back night meetings, public meetings, or is that something separate?
So that's something separate. Again, the limit on gatherings is still at 10.
Right.
With the exception of legislative bodies, which means town meeting is exempt from the 10-person limit. But a selectmen's meeting, a planning board meeting would not be, because they are not considered the legislative body of the community. Town meeting is.
All right,
So
all right, good point.
until the limit on gatherings is raised, then we would still limit public meetings and do them remotely.
Okay, all right. It's a little ways out.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else? I just had one
Couple
other.
more things, sorry, but it is, it's kind of exciting, I think, to think that I can get down to Front Street and go into a store now and buy something. So,
That's right.
just trying to give people the idea of what we're talking about. The big thing, I think, and you're going to hit on it, is June 13 is the town election. Sean's going to hit on some of the details of that. Town meeting has been officially rescheduled right now for the football stadium at Scituate High School on Saturday, June 27th in the morning. This will allow us to beat the heat of the day and the mosquitoes at night. At this point, the plan is going to be to consider only those items of an immediate nature, with all other articles postponed into a later fall town meeting or a later town meeting. We'll be pushing out the details of that as we get them and get them to the board. Excuse me. The way I envision it for the annual town meeting is we would have the normal consent agenda of things that we want to pass, a second consent agenda to postpone all those items that we believe do not need to be taken up, and then at a minimum, the budget, the capital budget, and the community preservation article would be available for regular debate. And again, if something's in the consent agenda that someone wishes to debate, they just hold it, and it comes out of the consent, either of the consent agendas, and it goes back on the
Like
agenda.
normal.
Like normal. The only difference would be the consent agenda for postponement. Instead of taking each individual postponement, it's going to be my recommendation, we just postpone all those articles by a single vote. We want to limit the amount of time people have to be at town meeting because of contact and closeness, but also you're going to be sitting outside. It could be a hot, sunny day, so we want to focus on those articles that people generally will have debate about, and those articles that we need to get through in order to function in the fall.
Where will on the new turf? Where will the
No, right now the plan would be to have the residents in the stands.
okay?
The stands can hold over almost 1,000 people without any social distancing. We were over there yesterday. We will mark off social distancing. I think the good thing about town meeting, when I look at it, you don't see a lot of singles at town meeting. They're husbands and wives, so if you get your normal crowd of 250 or so, 175, 200 of those are couples. So they don't need the social distance. They can sit together.
Right.
There is the area also where people can stand, right where the concession stand is going to be. So it's not going to be a normal town meeting, but we're going to do the best we can to get it in and get it out and do the people's business. We're going to have meetings over the next couple of weeks with public safety, with the town clerk, how we're going to manage, how people are going to come in. And as that information is solidified, that's going to get pushed out to people.
Great. All right.
Last thing, again, this week we had at least one, if not 2 days, 2 million gallon days at the water treatment plant. That is really high. That would bring us up to 9 days of over 1 million gallons through the treatment plant. Generally, we have 4 of those in June. We've already had 9 this year. People are using a lot of water. I know they're home, but there are water restrictions on when you can water before 9 or after 5 for outdoor watering, and automatic sprinklers 1 day a week based upon your precinct. So please, we ask you to conserve water. It's our most precious resource. We don't want to be in a situation later in the year where we're dealing with COVID-19 and water issues. So
I'd have to say, if that's that much of a spike, 9 days, and we normally have 4 in a year, it has to be because people are home.
not 4 in a year. We get 4 in the month of June.
Okay.
And we've already had 9 between May and June. And we're only on June 4th.
Right.
So I think people are home. They're watering their lawns. They're taking showers. They're just home. They're just using more water.
Yeah, right.
But do the best you can to conserve water. Sorry, last thing, Sean. I keep adding things.
It's all right.
I got this just from Kevin. The DPW and the Water Department are going to have an informational meeting for the residents up at Tack Factory Pond Drive on the town's new Well 17A water treatment facility, the green sand filter that we approved. They're going to do it Tuesday, June 9th at 6 o'clock at the site. They will maintain social distancing. It'll be between number 80 and number 110. There'll be representatives from the town and from the company out there. We have notified all the residents. We sent them a notice through the abutters list. Those are the people who cannot go. We will be providing information and contact information for the project representative. But that project is scheduled to start shortly, and we want to make sure the residents up there know exactly what that project's going to entail and what they're going to be seeing over the next couple of weeks.
And what time was that on June 9th?
6 p.m.
Okay. All right.
That's finally what I have for today.
All right. The only thing that I'd like to touch on is, as Jim mentioned it earlier, there is an election on June 13th. So I just came from the town clerk's office and asked her some of the, what could people expect. And so the first thing is the hours, first of all, are going to be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. There'll be about probably half the amount of staff there. People can bring their own black ballpoint pens if they're comfortable doing that. If not, they can pick up a sanitized pen when they check in, and they leave it when they check out, and then they're sanitized for someone else to use. Absentee and early voting. The governor is going to make a decision on Monday, but she said as of right now, err on the side of caution, act like today or tomorrow was the last day to get your ballot. Just allow yourself enough time. Are you going to do another addressment Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday?
Monday morning.
Monday morning. You may not know what the governor's going to do. Things might change. So, if nothing changes, just assume today's your last day. Allow enough time for the mail to get the ballot to you and get it back. You can drop it off, slide it under the door in the mail slot here at Town Hall. The Friday.
We're actually on the door at the town hall. You can come in, pick up the form, sit in your car, fill it out, and slide it right back in.
Right. So, that's really all I had to say about that. I don't think there's anything.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think I should point out that this, I think, is the first ballot since the 1990s that Sean Harris will not be on the ballot. So this is the first time in this century that Sean Harris will not be on the ballot. So I think people are going to be a little surprised not to see Sean Harris's name on the ballot. So good luck to you, Sean. I'm sorry you're not running. It's been great working with you. I've enjoyed it immensely. I tried to convince you to stay, but I couldn't do it. So if you see Sean, make sure you thank Sean for his service, because he will be leaving as a member of the Board of Selectmen following the election.
Thank you, Jim. I'll be here Tuesday night.
will be
So
here
I'll be
Tuesday
here
night.
with the chairman, Tony Vignani, and I'd like to thank everyone then at that time, and, it's been great. And I'll get into it much more on Tuesday night, but, yeah, it's sad, that's for sure. And I don't have anything else. Hope everyone stays
Yeah,
well,
good.
and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Scituate, a seaside town known for her beautiful beaches, exciting parades and festivals,
Historic lighthouse, bustling harbor, and most importantly, a resilient, supportive, and steadfast community.
We've always been there for one another. We need that now more than ever.
Over the next several weeks, Scituate Loves Local will be unveiling a series of events and initiatives to help small local businesses get back on their feet.
We want you to know that we're here, we're listening, and now we're taking action. Scituate loves local.
Scituate loves local.
Scituate Loves Local!
Scituate loves local.
Scituate loves local.
Scituate loves local.
Scituate Loves Local. Scituate Loves Local. Cheers.